Yama Nayagia Nangu Larakia Nama Yalagemu Naraga Yalagiyu Nama Gabanindu. That's what I said up there. So, I got asked to come here and talk about a certain topic, and I had this speech done up, and I changed it. Because I've been sitting here for 3 days, listening into conversations, getting to spend time with amazing people, and there were some other things that sort of were coming up for me that I think are really important for us to start unpacking in this space. So we've got the same title there. We're still going to yarn about allied health graduates contributing to change, but we're more going to be doing it from a perspective of understanding the importance of remaining grounded in law and culture, because that's what we carry. And if we don't carry it, and we don't carry it in that work that we do, then we're actively a part of it disappearing. So I know it can be a tough conversation for some people, but I think it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I'm going to do this through, I guess, having a quick look at some of the things that have happened to me in my life, and where I've had to grow, shape myself in a more positive way, particularly since becoming an allied health graduate, so that I could more effectively be a part of change, a positive change, not the ongoing negative dialogue deficit model that unfortunately many of us become indoctrined into when we go through our training. So this is all the stats, this is all the facts I'm going to give you. I know you've been smashed for 3 days and nobody wants to listen to more stats. But my real passion is in looking out for workforce. We've got all you beautiful people here right now, and you know, I'm one person. I can't be in communities all over the place working with all our kids or all our adults. You know, there's only 100 odd Aboriginal psychologists in this country. There's maybe 25, maybe 30 by now. Men, I can't do that work. But what I hopefully can do is be there to support our workforce. Help keep them deadly and strong so they can do the work with their people. You know, less fly in, fly out, drive in, drive out. More on the ground grassroots work. And I think that's another switch that we need to flick. Is we need to start looking at where are we spending our money? How are we spending our money? How can we more effectively be doing that? And I think the more we build our workforce, and you're all a part of that, I think the better off we all will be. So we know all the stats that are out there. We know that we've got the highest health burden, and definitely in Australia, arguably in the world, in Western colonised countries. And we don't need to go through that. Universities pump that into us day in, day out. They call it Aboriginal health education. Really what it should be called is impacts of colonisation, because that's what it is. It's got nothing to do with my health, my wellness, my healing. It's got to do with keeping me in a box of sorrow, deficit, disconnect. And I think we need to be a part of changing that. So, unfortunately at the moment we only make up less than 1% of the entire health workforce. Ridiculously low numbers. So yeah, we need more mob in every one of our professions. You know, most of the people in that 1%, a large majority of them, Aboriginal health workers, who I think do some of the most amazing work, but are some of the most ill-treated people in our systems. And then nurses, again, some of the most oppressed people in health systems. But nobody speaks about that. Nobody speaks about the pain of knowing that you're already a member of an oppressed group in an Australian society, and then you go into systems that just want to oppress you further. They don't want to treat you as a person of knowledge, cultural knowledge, that many other people in this country can never have. You know, your identity, your Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander heritage That's your key in the door. You just have to walk through, have a look, engage, learn, and take that back and apply it. We know that we continue to face societal and systematic institutional problems on a daily basis as community members, but also as health workers, health professionals. And I just spent 7 years working on a PhD all about that, the impact of that and how we may be able to move forward on it. And despite what we like to say, it's not getting better. We still have some of the highest burnout rates of any workforce in the world. And if we're supposedly burning out, like they like to call it means something's leading to that. Ongoing discrimination on a daily basis for many people. Ongoing pressures of knowing one way, being, feeling one way, being told you have to be something else when you go to work, 9 to 5. So it's hard. So this is a bit of my journey here. You know, I left school when I was 15 years old. I was a chef by the time I did a chef apprenticeship straight away, travelled the world. I was a bit of a loose cannon student, probably even a more loose cannon graduate, much like many people last night. Slowly I started to reflect on my life and I started to go, man, I'm out there talking to people about health and wellness and I'm a freaking wreck. I'm nothing but a hypocrite. And yeah, I got my pain, I got my sorrow, but I shouldn't be projecting that on other people in the work that I was doing. I couldn't be running workshops on the dangers of drugs and alcohol and then go and get on the pistol on it. People sense that. We're vibrational beings, we're energy beings. Despite what Western science wants to tell you, we pick up on that. We pick up when we're being told, fed lies. So I had to start applying myself in a better way. And that really came about through me getting back to what we've always done to keep us strong. Our ways, our law, and the culture that's driven by our law. Not the deficit culture that government and media like to drive about who we are, because that's what I was doing. So I had to get back to who I truly was, at that deep spiritual level. And it was a long journey, and it'll be an ongoing journey. I'll forever be a student. And I think that's a wonderful thing, because it means I won't get bored. I've always got something more I can learn in that space. So you'll see, I don't even mention that I'm a Camilla man there till 3/4 down that page. Because when I reflect back on my life, I wasn't carrying myself as a Camilla man in that earlier part. I try to in everything I do today. And then some cool stuff coming up there, obviously, and I'm going to win Ninja Warrior, and hopefully somebody's silly enough to give me a PhD. But that's only come through me attaching to law, culture. None of that came through anything I gathered from uni. I can tell you right now, I was listening to a good friend of mine, Leah, this morning. She was talking about the programs that Dulwich Centre runs and how some of it's structured, and I just think it's freaking amazing. You know, it's valuing people for cultural knowledge, lived experience, cellular knowledge. Each and every one of you, if you're Aboriginal, whatever country, Torres Strait Islander, whatever island, every cell in your body is charged with the knowledge from the beginning of time. Sometimes you just got to allow yourself to go out and learn it. And that can be difficult sometimes because of things that have happened in our history. But it's there, you know, we spent 100,000 years singing law in the country. The country will always give it back to us. Just go sit with her, listen. She'll teach you. That textbook that was once a beautiful tree, it doesn't know anything. It knows death. That big tree will tell you more about living in 10 minutes than any textbook, all the textbooks you could ever read on living. But it requires a bit of a shift of mind. It requires you to stop thinking from a colonised mind of, oh, that sounds womba. I'm going to go talk to dead people and trees. People might think I'm silicone. That's okay. That's their business, not yours. Your business is to be the most effective Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander helpers, healers that you can be. So who am I? That's who I am now. I'm Gamilaroi, first and foremost. Guided by my Dirya Gamal. Dirya Gamal that was given to us by Budra, Creator. We're fortunate enough to have, as Gamilaroi, Gamal means nothing, have nothing, arrive, to receive. For the people that came from nothing and were fortunate enough to receive consciousness from Budra. From the period, as you can see there, Gamala Bidui, means a couple of things. Gamala Bidui means before creation, before the light, but it also means the beginning of consciousness, that spark. And part of that law is understanding that we're also past the ability to learn through story. I was just having a good yarn before about, people rave on about written word. I think written word's the time in history when we started to become less connected. We didn't have to remember anymore. You didn't have to tune in. Winnaga. Listen to know, to remember. Winnagali Gu. You simply could pick up a book. So we lost that connection to knowledge, to story. Going way back time. For us, not as long a time as many other people around the world, but it's been a fast impact here. So that law goes back, as it says, to the beginning of time. That will forever protect me. Westminster, Australian common law, that's not going to protect me from much. It protects itself. Litigation, legislation, looks after itself. Doesn't look after us. Our ways look after us. My story is connected through those three elements there to all your story. Everyone in this room, everybody in this city, everybody on this beautiful continent, and everything else on this beautiful continent and beyond. Through a few notions, Bilma, one with everything, connectedness. Galaban, Ganagal, interconnectedness with land, water, air, people. Ji-Duai, Ji-Duai, my heart, my soul, Gamilaroi, to everything connected. But I'm the same as anybody here, I've had to figure out how to live in this two-world space. That's why I come up here painted, half-body, to show that I carry my law everywhere I go. I'm not ashamed of it. I come up here in no shoes, talk to audience, paint up. This protects me. As soon as I put that paint on my foot, that circle, we circle people. Put that circle there, that grounds me into the energy of this earth. This paint here, my ancestors know it. So they know me. So they protect me. I feel the energy as soon as it's there. Trent can't be paid up before me, I was buzzing. And thank them for allowing me to use the beautiful alcove here, directly out the door. Paint is powered by that energy, that spirit. This thing doesn't control anything else. This thing here controls that. I know that might be hard for some of the psychologists in the room. I'm a psychologist, I've read the textbooks too. Thoughts control like behaviours and actions. Which way? Spirit controls thought. Spirit charges thought, powers it. It's no different. This thing like the battery in your phone. That phone don't work with no battery. Without that energy. This thing charges this thing here. It can only compute, it can only think because it has this. So if this is positive, this is more likely to be positive. If this is negative, good luck. That thought, that drives my intention, my behavior, my action, my physical self, plus what I create from here. Nothing stays in my mind, nothing stays in my body. Everything's projected. Again, science is starting to catch up with what we've been yarning about forever, which is awesome. You know, they can now test that people's thoughts leave the brain, leave the skull. To measure it beyond the skull. Hey, we've been doing that forever. And we can do it anytime when we allow ourselves to learn. And we go back to Winnagali, Gu. And then that's all connected to everything that is important to me. My family, my community, my colleagues, my peers, my culture, my country, this country, everything. And there's a whole bunch of other influence out there, positive and negative. A lot of what we see in those determinants. There's baggage that's there from our past. There's issues that we face today. But there's a whole lot of good stuff too that I can tap into. And then surrounding all that is that constant, forever constant, in and outward flow of law as pure energy. And that comes negative, positive too. Sometimes we experience some negative stuff, like disrespect. We absorb it, and then we tend to produce disrespect for others. Sometimes we feel love, and we just feel overwhelmed, and all we want to do is produce love for others. Acceptance, kindness. So it goes both ways. So what the heck has all this got to do with being a graduate in this space? I think it comes down to those things there. Humility. As I said, I went through a long period of my life where I didn't know anything about Dirigama. I was ashamed about that. But I shouldn't have been. I should have positioned myself, carried myself in a way where people felt comfortable in teaching me, where I'd have an opportunity to normally observe, absorb, record, and Winnagali, listen, so I'd have an opportunity to know and hopefully remember. That's my responsibility, nobody else's. That was my responsibility. And understanding that I'll forever have stuff to learn. You know, I was fortunate enough to get to spend the day yesterday. These beautiful people over here, Uncle Tony, Trent. It was an amazing day. So I learned more in that day than I'll probably learn in the next, I don't know, until I come back down with this mob again. A couple of weeks probably. But if I didn't come back, for a long time. And I still make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. I'm so far from perfect, it's ridiculous. But I own it. I've learned to own it, because only by owning it do I actually position myself to learn from it. If I can use a good old blame and excuse, then it's not me, it's something else. Therefore, I don't change. So if I want to learn, I need to position myself so I can learn. If I forget, I again need to position myself so I get to learn again. If I muck up, I can sit and dwell on it, or I can see it as a learning opportunity. Take something positive from it, and try and apply it. And the Spirit's got a wonderful way of putting you back in the same position time and time again until you learn what you need to learn. And it'll keep doing it throughout your life. And you'll see it. You know, I experienced a whole bunch of emotional and psychological abuse and physical abuse when I was a kid. What did I do after that? I just used drugs and alcohol for 10 years, 15 years. I just self-abused. I did what I knew, rather than going, man, what can I learn from that? Eventually I learned from it, and people go, what did you learn from that? And I said, I learned it felt shit. Yeah, how's that a positive lesson? I said, because I'm far better set to know how to treat other human beings. Because I've been that person. I've had that experience, that feeling. So I know far better how to treat others now. You know, I think as men, we've got a good role to play in that. Many of us have faced abuse. Many of us have faced neglect, whatever it may be in our lives, rejection. Doesn't mean we have the right to project it onto others, particularly our women. We've got to drive that. That's our responsibility, to hold ourselves better, to hold ourselves accountable in our day-to-day lives, but also our work. We work in a paternalistic system. Sometimes we get dragged into it. So instead of supporting our women in work, we become part of the boys' club. That's you, if that's happening. Nobody's doing that to you. You can stand up and say, hey, this ain't right. I don't deserve more bungu than that person. I don't have more knowledge than that person. So we always have influence, which is an amazing thing. Authenticity. Authenticity is about understanding truth and acting from that. And people can feel that. Same with integrity. Doing something for positive purpose. Integrity in its most basic form. Positive purpose. Positive energy. Produce it, share it with each other. Reciprocity. And legitimacy. Legitimacy, yeah, I don't really like it. Because it's a legal-based word. Legal. Legit. That's where the word comes from. I'm more interested in legitimacy. Applying myself from my way, Dirigamble, everywhere I go. And doing that proper way. Doing that from a place of positive energy and truth. And these are traits that people pick up on in the work that we do. So if we're out there being the negative side of any of those we're working with know. Also those that come through that look up to us as aspiring health professionals of the future, they learn that too. So we all hold that responsibility, and our ways are very much structured around responsibility. That's the backbone there of my law. All positive. Understanding respect as pure energy that I actually have the opportunity to produce for others based on what I receive. Of understanding to whom and to what I have responsibility, so I stand some chance of fulfilling those. Again, producing positivity. Understanding reciprocity. The wonderful opportunity we have to share energy around with each other, with those we work with country, with spirit, ancestors. Acting from a place of acceptance. Both acceptance of self. I'm the only one who controls what I say, think, do. Nobody else. Just me. And acceptance of everybody else. We're accepting people. We're not rejecting people. Sometimes we move away from that. Particularly in the health space. Because it can be nasty at times. It can be dog eat dog. It's very, as I said earlier, paternalistic. It's very funding driven, so therefore competitive. Often under-resourced, more competitiveness. So we get dragged in sometimes, we forget our ways. Understanding my connections, so that I know to whom and to what I hold responsibility. If I don't know what I'm connected to, how am I supposed to understand where my responsibilities lie? And then understanding the wonders of interconnectedness. That everything I do, everything, in some shape or form influences, doesn't control, but influences everything I'm connected to, and everything I'm connected to is connected to far more than that. Like a beautiful spider web. And all that has to be driven from a place of truth, from positivity. You know, I've heard a lot of people yarn about this notion of leadership over the last few days. And it's a word that doesn't really sit comfortably with me, to be honest. Because it's not our word. We're people who understand the importance of everybody, the role of everybody. We do business in circle, there's no leader in that circle. We circle people. Means at times I'm Booba, I'm the father, I'm the teacher, and just as often, if not more, I'm Gaali, the child, the student. But each has an equal role to the other. I've only learned how to be a father because I had kids. Without them, I'd never be a father. I only have the opportunity to be up here because of you. You hold just as important role in this conversation as young are having as I do. I've only come up with what we're yarning about today from listening to you. I've been Gaali this whole 3 days. Not Booba. I sit with this man over here. I'm a baby in their world. That's okay. Trent come down my country, he's a baby. That's okay. And within that, it's about understanding that when I hold that position of teacher, father, leader, that my responsibility is to ensure that I'm doing everything that I can to help the journey of Gaali on the other side. That's my role. And when I'm on the other side, my role is to do everything I can to help the journey of Gaali. Circular. Equal. No level 5, level 3, GP, health worker. Just teachers, learners, brothers, sisters, fathers, sons, students. And we forget that often in this leadership space, and it's happened to me at times when I was younger, and there'd be people in this room that had known me very differently now to how they knew me before. And I got put up on that leader pedestal 15 years ago. And yeah, unfortunately I got grabbed by them headlights. Dear, oh, that looks great. Listen to me. That wasn't good for me. That wasn't good for anybody that I was supposed to be leading. It was self-invested. It was individualized. We're not individuals. We're collective people. We're community people. So while we might get given these titles sometimes, I think we need to understand them from a different position. So I'm not saying that I'm not in a room full of leaders here at all, because that's exactly what I am saying. You all leaders.